Check. 1, 2, 3.
The D.
Brief.
This is the D Brief.
Your guide to Detroit.
Your guide to Detroit's
arts and entertainment scene.
This is the D.
Brief.
Hello and welcome to your podcast for Detroit concerts, comedy, plays, food, drink, and more. It is Tuesday, July 2nd, 2019. July.
Happy July.
Oh, man. My name is Seth Wrestler. I'm your co-host.
And I'm Becky Scarcello, and it's my birthday month.
Hey, happy birthday month. Come on.
Yeah.
You're pushing it there.
All right, we'll talk about it tomorrow.
I'll give you half a week.
That's pretty good. I'll take it.
Hey, if you're new to the podcast, I'm new to Detroit, so we're all even there. I am learning my way around this city.
And I'm helping you learn since I'm the native.
You are a pretty good teacher. I'll give you that.
Thanks.
Look, there's a lot going on because of 4th of July this week. We'll tell you about some of the things that you might want to do and some of the things that you may want to look out for.
I'm going to talk to you about a few best places to see live music in the D.
Ooh. Hey, Foolish, who you may know from being on the radio. He was on WJLB, he was on The Bounce, he was on Hot 107.5. He is performing this weekend. I will tell you where you can see him now.
And Friday, you're going to want to tune in to hear our interview with Brian Lindsay. He's the owner of Handlebar, those pedal pubs around town, drinking and biking.
I've been dying to do one of those
I know you
things.
have. You should go. It's so fun.
I know. I need to just pull the trigger and make that happen. Look, we talk about a lot of stuff on this podcast. If you want us to email you a list of everything that's going on around town, all you have to do is go to our website, thedebriefdetroit.com. While you're there, sign up for the email list. We will send you links to everything that's happening around town.
You can also just text the word Detroit to 444-999.
And let's make a note of one other thing. We have had so many people come onto this podcast from different arts and entertainment communities, and they've said, I want to do a podcast. We are now helping, especially folks from arts and entertainment organizations, launch their own podcasts. We set up Michigan Podcast Productions specifically to do that. If you want to learn more, go to our website, michiganpodcastproductions.com. All right, Becky, you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's get into the show.
The Debrief, your guide to Detroit's arts and entertainment scene.
This is the D Brief.
All right, Becky, let's introduce today's guest. He is one of Detroit's premier live entertainers. He's been doing it for over 10 years. Comparisons to folks like Frank Sinatra, Cab Calloway, Dean Martin, Harry Connick Jr., Justin Timberlake. Mm-hmm. If you're into any of that, you're going to love this guy. He's got over 5 million views on YouTube, which is pretty good because we've got 5.
5 or 10. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Welcome to the podcast, Ben Sharkey. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
Talk about your music. I mean, talk about who your inspirations are. Talk about, your style of performing.
Your swagger.
Oh my gosh. I'd like to say that I'm like a musical voyager. Ever since I've been young, or ever since I was young, I have just always enjoyed music, and my dad always played classical music in the house when we were young because he was a writer, and it helped him concentrate and everything. So grew up in classical music in the house, and then I heard pop music from friends on radios and stuff like that, and I remember I used to fight with him, and I'm like, I want to hear pop music, and then I also had an 8-track in my an old 8-track that had like one 8-track. I was like 5 or 6, and I would put it in. It was the It's My Party, and I'll Cry If I Want To.
Sure.
So I was introduced to Motown, and I was like, oh, this is freaking amazing stuff. And then it gathered into pop and R&B, and then I found Harry Connick Jr. Randomly, and the jazz thing snapped because previously my grandmother always forced us to listen to the musicals, and so that was a different kind of genre
like
as
Broadway,
well. Yeah,
show
Broadway
tunes
musicals, like Song of Music, some of the Sinatra tunes. And it's funny because when I grew up, none of these things ever clicked together. It was just all kind of music, whatever. And then finally, when I hit the jazz and then started doing the research from Harry Connick Jr., did covers that Sinatra did, and Sinatra did covers that were written, or Sinatra even performed things that were in these musicals that I listened to as a kid, and it was just like this weird Ratatouille moment when he finally gets the bite of that Ratatouille, and it kind of sent me back to childhood, and everything kind of clicked together. And so I've been on this like musical journey from, jazz to all the origins of blues and, all those kind of people, like just, New Orleans style blues, like early recordings of like slave songs. They're just so fascinating to me.
I was going to say, don't say Ratatouille, say it's the gumbo.
Yeah, it's the gumbo. Yeah, for sure.
So do you have like phases that you go through where you'll get really into a style or an artist?
Yeah, so I went through a Michael Bublé phase, and that's why people always compare me to him. I kind of got my start with music with doing Michael Bublé covers on YouTube. And they started getting a lot of traction and everything, and it was cool. But then I started to want to have my own identity, and I don't want to be a cover artist, Right. I'm an artist, I'm visual, and I feel like I have to express myself, and that's art.
So you're writing your own original material as well.
Yes.
I give you kudos for having the drive to do that, because I told you when I saw you at Cliff Bell's, I love your covers. You're a master at them, but I really love your original music.
Thank you.
And it was like, oh, that's you. Like that comes through. And so that takes a lot of courage to move beyond and have confidence and believe in your own work.
Yeah, for sure. You know what? When you have a passion about something, no isn't an answer. Mm-hmm. It's no right now. Right. And you just work towards it. It's like that fire that breathes in you. Yeah. You can't put it out.
So tell us a little bit about your current album, Mercury Rising.
So this was, inspired by the Prohibition era in the beginning of it. With things like Champagne Pop, which is about, dancing and celebration and champagne. And I was inspired by that Great Gatsby movie that came out. And I just loved that era, so much, like the original partiers, And so along with some of that, Cap Calloway inspired a song, Swing Don't Cost a Thing, which is all about like swagger. And it's actually, I feel like swing, like having a good swing to your step and whatever, that predates swagger for me. So
I can see that.
This is about swagger, but an older term of it. Swing don't cost a thing. So, and then there's some other things that are inspired by Rockabilly, Black Widow on there, and then it moves into funk, and there's a song called Beast in Me, which is inspired by Thriller, Michael Jackson, who was a big inspiration for me as well. So I had like these weird inspirations from the jazz and crooners and Cap Callaways and all that kind of stuff. And then I also was obsessed with Michael Jackson, and it's kind of like it's cycled through me,
So you've got a couple of shows coming up. People have got an opportunity to see you. Let's go through some of them, starting with July 12th. What's going on?
Yeah, so that's in Clarkston. It's part of their Clarkston Summer Concert Series. It's every Friday night in the summer. It's in Depot Park, and I've got a good lineup of musicians with me. I also wanted to say that it's their 39th year of doing it, which I thought that was substantial.
That's amazing.
That's a long time. Anybody who does anything for 39 years, I'm pretty
right.
Yeah,
right.
So there's a bit of history there, and there's a big gathering, and I think everyone should bring their picnic chairs along for their seats and hang out with us as I do some of my originals as well as some of my favorite covers.
Cool. And you've got some things happening in Detroit proper as well,
Yeah.
right?
I saw you're going to be part of the Concert of Colors.
Yes. Concert of Colors is on the 13th of July, and I will be on the north lawn of the DIA. And that's the Wolverine stage, and that is, I think I'm on at 8:30.
Nice. Awesome. Another outdoor great show. Okay.
Yeah.
And then July 19th, you're at Access Lounge over at MGM Grand.
Yeah, so that is a little bit of a different show. I do more covers, and it's more focused on dance, kind of pop music. Oh. So I do Drake, I do Justin Timberlake, I do Prince. just a lot of like top 40 kind of stuff,
Okay.
as well as some of my danceable originals that I do. And it's a good dance night.
And you're frequently at that venue, correct?
Yeah, I'm a regular.
Yeah.
Nice.
Once a month, I'm there.
You probably have some groupies that show up a lot.
I do.
Yes, I can see that.
They're my Sharkettes and some Sharksters. But
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sharkettes, yeah.
So,
Yeah. So all these dates are on bensharkey.com.
it helps to have a cool last name like that.
I know.
I have a cool last name, Wrestler. I should be able to do something with that.
Yeah.
You could
just
wrestle.
wrestling.
Wrestlerettes? I don't know.
wrestling.
Oh, yeah. Wrestlerettes.
Yeah.
All right, Ben. Well, we're glad you're here. Hang out. Enjoy yourself. We're going to have a good show. And yeah.
The D. Breathe.
All right, Becky, let's start with music news. What's going on?
So there was an interesting story this week about Jack White. And just for the record, if you heard a rumor, he does not do heroin. Okay, so this rumor was started kind of a strange way. So there was an article in the Irish Times. Yes, from Ireland. Help Us Stranger just came out. It's the first record from the Raconteurs in 11 years. Okay. So White in the article kind of deadpanned that it took so long because his bandmate Brendan Benson quit drinking and that he started using heroin. So he just said it as a real dry joke, right?
Yeah.
Well, Spin Magazine picked it up, wrote a blog post with no joke context. Within hours, it was out on the internet. Jack White was doing heroin, so that's why it took so long for this.
You and I
album.
were talking about this earlier, and you said something that I thought was really weird. You said Jack White is known for his sense of humor.
Well, for being like deadpan humor, like that really dry.
So
like
I say this as a guy who like I'm very dry and I have deadpan humor.
Yes.
And I don't pick it up in Jack White at all.
Yeah, well, this is a guy that convinced everyone that his bandmate in the White Stripes, Meg White, his wife was his sister, which started out as a joke.
So I remember that. I mean,
Yeah.
I interviewed Jack White very early in his career. I was in Seattle, and he yelled at me.
What?
And yeah, because that was when he and Meg White would wear those red and white outfits.
It was a look, yes.
And it was a look, and I asked him about the outfits, and he yelled at me. He's like, "They're not outfits." And now that I'm hearing this story, I'm wondering if, for years, I've been walking around going, "Jack White hates me."
No, I bet he was joking. I bet he was like,
now
kinda
I'm
joking.
wondering if he was joking.
Yeah, maybe he was.
Yeah.
Which I've never really considered.
Let's just say he
before.
was, because then you'll feel better about it.
There you go.
Because you've been harboring
I
that.
would feel. I have been harboring
For
this
a
for
while.
Your
Your
night
quite
has
a
been
while.
made.
Yeah. So
Right, I've
he was
been-
just kidding.
I can let go of
You're absolved.
my
Yeah.
Jack White issues.
But here's the thing. So Jack's been pretty vocal, against drug use. I mean, he drinks and smokes cigarettes, but he's always said, I've never done any drugs, blah, blah, blah. So I think this brings up an interesting thing. Like, was that just for clickbait? What does that say about journalism on the internet? That Spin just grabbed that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That, and I think it was. So I'm going to bring up the local restaurant that has had the crack fries.
Oh, right.
Right.
Hopcat.
People joke about this kind of stuff, like, oh, it's like heroin, or like, blah, blah, like loosely, and not thinking of, all the people are actually suffering with this kind of stuff. And it's
Exactly.
kind of stuff that you shouldn't joke about.
Right.
But, sometimes people are insensitive to that, and they say that kind of thing.
Yeah, it was a pretty
But
dumb
the
thing
media
to say.
did take that, knowing that it was a joke, that he didn't really mean it like that.
Yes, you would think
And
if they
they
read the
kinda-
article.
Well, wait a minute.
And that's
you
clickbait.
think the media did this on purpose? This is what you're implying.
I
with
think
clickbait.
so.
Or they just, don't have much staff and just didn't really read
See,
the
I
article.
think that's more likely.
Do you
I
think?
think
Like,
there's
they didn't take the time.
Well, and there's such a
Which is
rush,
also irresponsible.
and there is pressure to be the first to publish something.
Why not look into it,
It
Two extra seconds.
It takes staff. No, it doesn't take 2 extra. Hey, look,
Well, I guess if you're
how are you
doing
going to go
bunches-
fact check whether Jack White's really on heroin? You got to go.
No, I mean, it said right in the article, heroin, deadpanned Jack White.
I mean, I guess, but I
get what you're saying,
do
too. I get what both of you are saying.
I do see journalists rush to this. I mean, I question whether that was a funny joke. I actually
No,
think there
I
is a
don't think
way
it's
to
funny.
joke about drug use,
Right.
and
Yeah, I
you
don't
know,
think it was funny.
Right, I just don't think this was a particularly
No.
funny way to do it.
That's kinda
right.
silly. Yeah,
So, all right, so we've agreed that the journalists suck, and Jack White's
was-
not very funny.
Right. Yeah.
not a comedian.
Consensus.
Okay, let me see if you think this is funny though. How he responded. All right, so he put on his Instagram. I've never done heroin before or any other illegal drug, and anyone close to me could confirm this. If you've read the article, you could see that I was joking. And then he said, for a full understanding of the kind of guy I am and where I come from, please try my cold brew beverage. And he put a link in his bio. The link went to a video of Jack White making nature's cold brew. Was just dirt and water, mixing it up.
So that's what you call trolling.
Exactly.
Yes.
So do you think that's a funny follow-up?
I've seen better.
I know. It's kind of,
Yeah, I know. He should have had a. What was the what's that? God dang it, Rick rolled.
Yes.
Oh,
Right,
yeah,
there
Yeah,
you
he
go.
should have
That's
done
what
like
he
you
should've
can
done.
lift you up.
See, that would have been funny.
yes. See, you're good at
There you go.
responding. Yes,
See,
yes.
I should be his new publicist.
You should call
By
him
the
up.
way, is that in your set? Any Rick Astley?
No, never. Sorry, there's some
no?
no-goes. Yes.
Yeah. So here's what you might call irony or sweet revenge or whatever. But the Raconteurs' "Help a Stranger" is #1 on Billboard's Top 200 Albums chart.
Is that happenstance, do you think?
I don't know, or did the publicity help it?
Oh, yeah.
No,
it did.
I think
so.
I mean, I think he's earned it. I mean, I think this guy's been around for a long time. I think he's really
It's a
respected
quality
as an
music.
That's a nice
artist.
little push.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
is. So-
I don't know about
They
that.
had the best sales week for any vinyl album so far in 2019. So,
With how many?
well, here's what's funny: 25,000 vinyl sales. Now,
I
total
love vinyl.
record sales was 88,000 for this.
I can't.
But
I mean, I
album.
look. I realize the world's changed. I realize people, don't buy music the way that
Actual
they used to.
albums, yeah.
I don't. I mean, I'm streaming everything off my streaming services.
My kids buy vinyl,
But
so
but I
that's-
remember when NSYNC sold 1 million records in a
Oh
week.
Right.
yeah, those days
Right.
are over.
And that's
those days are over.
Yeah.
But yeah, their last albums made it to #7. So I mean,
Well,
maybe
good for them.
waiting 11 years was the secret sauce.
See?
Yeah.
Jack, good idea. Congratulations. We're glad you didn't go into comedy.
Yes. There you go. So speaking of the Billboard charts, this is interesting. So you know that song Lil Nas X, "The Old Town Road."
Yep.
It is on its 13th week at #1 on Billboard's Hot 100 chart for a hip hop single. And that means it just beat Eminem's "Lose Yourself." Because
Wow.
that spent 12 weeks.
Wow.
So what does that say?
Well,
I don't know.
this is the song that they wouldn't allow on the country charts, right?
Correct.
That they put on, and then they're like, "Yeah, it's
No,
not
that's not
country
really,
enough," and
so it's
pull it
hip-hop.
off, and so it's.
Yeah.
I think it means that the charts don't really matter the way they used to.
It does.
It's
It's
what
not
I really think it means.
indicative of quality.
Yeah.
So,
I
so we'll
think-
see how far it goes because only 9 songs in history have held that top spot for longer than that.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't worry about an Eminem.
yeah, I'm not concerned either. So, Fodor's Travel, so website, blog, whatever you want to call it, Fodor's said there's 12 music venues in Detroit that will make you want to dance. So I thought I'd tell you guys what they recommended and see what you think about it. They said St. Andrews, Magic Stick, Majestic, Fillmore, Motor City Wine, Fox Theater, PJ's Lager House, Marble Bar, Baker's Keyboard Lounge, Cafe de Mango's, L Club, and the TV Lounge. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some things missing.
Yeah.
We've got so many venues.
I know. What would you add to the list?
Cliff Bell's is one.
Definitely.
Yeah, let's talk about that because I know that's a place you've performed in the past,
Yep.
right? So I mean, I heard a rumor you had that there was a show there back in 2010 that was a game changer for you.
Oh, yes. So, well, just a quick thing. I was on YouTube, a musician on YouTube, and I didn't have a band, anything like that. And then I was like known in like Brazil, and I had fans in New York and LA and Germany and all that kind of stuff. But like no one really knew who I was here. So I finally got a band together. Actually, someone reached out to me on Facebook, and they're like, "Hey, do you need a band?" And I said, "Yes, I do. I've
As a
been
matter
looking
of
for
fact.
it. I didn't even know how to find it." So,
Musicians are hard to find in Detroit.
well, no, they're not. I just didn't know where to start.
Start,
Like,
yeah.
what are you, Craigslist?
I
a
think so.
band member?
Yes.
Like,
I think so. Yeah.
I tried that. I was just too scared to follow through with it. And so he reached out to me, and there is a plethora of amazing musicians in town.
Yes.
Wayne State has a amazing music program, and these are all music these are working musicians that are working 5 to 7 days a week in Detroit. It's amazing. And I call them up sometimes, and they can't even like do the gig because there's so many other gigs going on. But anyway, back to Cliff Bells. I finally get a band together. I do my first gig at Oak City Grill in Royal Oak because a friend of mine, Matt Kaisia, hooked me up with that gig. And it was kind of like small for me. And I'm like, you know what? I want a jazz band. And this guy was a jazz bassist. And he had all these connections, and I'm like, can we do a big band thing? And he said yes, because I was still doing the Michael Bublé stuff and the Sinatra things and everything like that. So we call up Cliff Bells and say that I said that I wanted to do a gig there. And they said, "Who are you?"
Excuse me, who? Mr. Sharkey?
Who are you? They're like, I don't know. We don't really know if you can pull in anybody, blah, blah. Meanwhile, I've been hanging out in Detroit socially, getting to know a lot of the movers and shakers in town. And so I had a lot of connections already. And so...
The movers and shakers are also on Craigslist, by the way.
They are.
No, you meet them. You meet them by hanging out in Detroit and getting to know people and all that kind of stuff. Wow.
Don't listen to him. He's not from here. He doesn't even understand
I'm sure Craigslist has a section for movers and a
movers,
section for
movers and
shakers.
shakers. Yes, and ribbon cutters. So anyway, we call them up and they give us a hard time, and so we say, okay, let's rent out a Sunday. And they said, okay. So we rented it out. We got, we went big. So we got 2 searchlights, put them out front of Cliff Bells.
Wow.
And we packed the place. Packed it. And, and we did like a big band kind of set. And Cliff Bells was like, okay, so when can we have you back?
Right.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so great.
Next time we do a live podcast taping, we got to get
we get the searchlights and all of Ben's friends.
Yes.
There you go.
Apparently.
Okay.
Did you put bat symbols in the middle of the searchlights, or what
always
was the...
wanted to.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I couldn't get it in time. It was
We'll
a kind of
do that.
last minute decision.
Well, it's funny with this photos article is I wondered what your take would be because I didn't love it. It seemed very out of touch. I mean, I think the choices are good, but they started out the article by saying, in recent years, Detroit, Michigan has fallen on hard times.
What? It's the opposite.
Exactly.
I think they meant in recent centuries.
I guess. Yeah.
Phrasing.
Right.
And then it went on to say, many have forgotten the numerous ways Detroit has influenced the world.
Who is this person?
Yeah. So I wanted to throw the whole thing out, but I thought it'd be a good discussion.
Well, this comes back to what we're talking about. These
What?
journalists. I mean, this is probably written by somebody who's not here.
Exactly.
And
They just said write about music venues.
Right.
And they
So
just...
they don't know about Deluxe Flux.
They
No.
didn't. Yeah, I had that on my list of missing
Yeah.
things, and then old school stuff, Old Miami Temple Bar. I mean, I've had some really fun dance nights there.
I mean, there's some great stuff in Greektown, like the rooftop parties and all that kind of stuff.
yeah. So, whatever, voters, but
Okay.
a new venue is coming to town that seems pretty cool. Sid Gold's Request Room. It's opening this month. It's a retro piano karaoke bar, so you can go up and sing karaoke to a live piano player.
That's amazing.
Yes, Wurlitzer Building is where it's at. It's kind of that alleyway between the Siren and Element hotels there, like kind of where you get into Albina and some other places. So the owners are Beauty Bar founder Paul DeVitt and the former Psychedelic Furs keyboardist Joe McGinty.
You have to have a pretty big repertoire to be able to,
Play piano for that.
A lot of these musicians
They
do. Well,
do.
they'll give you a book.
Yes, they
Just
said they'll
like-
have a
yeah.
set list.
So all
books
these
are
things-
huge. When
A set list
You
with the
wouldn't
range.
believe how much these musicians know. They
Yeah,
have played.
seriously, seen it. Yeah.
Especially the good ones.
I know the Cheers theme.
I can believe it. I can believe it.
I know
Yeah,
Chopsticks and Axel F.
They probably won't be hiring
You know what's interesting about this is that it's in the Wurlitzer building.
Yes.
Which is
Was
the pianos.
Exactly.
Yes.
And music boxes. And
Yes.
Yes.
And the Siren Hotel originally was the hotel that all of the opera house performers would stay at. when they came into
Siren
town.
song.
So this is kind of fitting.
It's beautiful.
It's actually a good idea
It's
for
really
them to do
beautiful.
something like that.
Well, I think that was very intentional because the first one of these is in New York City that's opened in 2015. They've been looking basically since then here in Detroit. They knew they
Nice.
wanted to do it in Detroit, but wanted to pick the perfect location at the perfect time. So I saw some pictures online. It's 1970s decor. There's like galaxies painted on the ceiling. I mean, it looks like it's going to be a whole
No,
experience.
they did a great job with that.
Yeah.
Siren and element. Okay.
Yeah, so keep an eye out because it's supposed to open in the next couple of weeks, and they're going to do like a grand opening. So,
Amazing.
yeah.
This guy, what's his name?
Joe McGinty, the keyboardist from.
He's going to be a busy man.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me ask you about something because you're also working with this market, right? What's the story with that?
In Capitol Park.
Yeah, Ettore Market. So
Wait, Ettore Market? How do
Ettore.
you spell that?
So it's
EAT.
EATORI, but there's an accent over the O.
Oh, Ettore. Is that mean something or is that a
It's kind of Zach Katim and Samer Ghaffari are the founders of it, and they would explain it better. But it's been kind of an evolution of experiences that have kind of evolved into the name. Originally, the concept was going to be factory stations, not really factory like I don't know how to explain exactly, but it was just going to be different kind of stations, and so it kind of like wanted to be like factory eatery kind of backed
I get it.
on
That making
that.
sense now.
And then the original spaces that we were looking at were going to be hoping for Woodward, and we wanted to have it Ettore Station, and so because of the queue line.
that makes sense.
Yeah. So Saturday nights, there's music there.
Yeah.
DJ.
Yes.
I never knew this.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I know.
And this is where if people want to go check it out?
This is in Capitol Park.
Oh, nice.
It
Hot
is.
spot.
So what's really cool about it is this is actually a neighborhood in Detroit. It's not, clubs and all that kind of stuff. There's all residences. I believe that there are 800 residences
Within that triangle?
in that area. And so it's all the people that live there need a grocery store. So we supplied that for them, as well as some like quick bites and some like a nice bar, restaurant, gathering place up front. And so all the locals go there. We see the same people there 2-3 times a day. And it's like,
that's
it's
awesome.
it's like a Cheers.
That's smart. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember reading about that even before I lived in Detroit, that they had no grocery store downtown. I always remember thinking,
Right.
how is that possible?
Right.
So,
Yeah. Capitol Park's great. If I can give a plug for my company, Feet on the Street Tours, too. We added a Capitol Park tour this year. It's been wildly successful. We do a little food tour there. And people love knowing about that people live there and work there. And it's the site of the original capital of Michigan.
Yes.
It was, yeah.
The original mayor is actually buried there, right?
Buried there, yes. Yeah. Yeah. Statue. So.
The more you know.
Yeah, exactly. So, concert picks. I got a few. Friday, July 5th, there's a bunch of choices. You can go see J-Lo at LCA, or you can see Snoop Dogg at the Aretha Franklin Amphitheater, Shane Park, or you can see Weird Al at Meadowbrook.
the guy's still going.
Look at those choices.
Man.
What's interesting about Weird Al, I just read that from this tour, he's pulling his Michael Jackson parodies. He does Eat It.
Yeah.
Those are what
Instead of
made
Beat
him
It.
famous, though.
I know.
Those were the ones that I remember. Eat It.
He's like, I don't
Fat.
want to offend people. And, I've seen the documentaries and it just is too much for me. And I think that I'm going to leave those out for now. It just.
I mean, how do you feel about it? You're obviously influenced by Michael Jackson.
Yeah. So first, I can appreciate and respect his decision to do that. But I think that there are a lot of unanswered questions, and there are also opposing views, and Michael Jackson isn't alive to, defend himself.
Wait,
so
are
it's
you
like, I
suggesting
don't
that you
know.
think he might be innocent?
I mean, it's kind of hard to, I don't know. It's so tough because it's a crushing thing. Like he was like an idol for me growing up, And so it's like, I don't know if I can really believe that he'd do that. Optics are really bad, like sleeping, in the same bed with a child is not really something that should be done,
No.
especially with a stranger. I mean, if it's a relative, they're, whatever.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
you want to
understand.
respect victims, if they,
Absolutely.
he was such a superstar, like how do you tell at that time? It's just
You know who I
stinks.
feel this way about is Bill Cosby, who I grew up on his albums and loved his stand-up comedy.
Loved
And-
the Cosby Show.
But there was like so much evidence against him, so many testimonies, and I don't know. It just seemed like they got him. They put him in jail, because of it. Michael
Yeah.
Jackson never went to jail.
I know, but I don't think that,
I think
Do you think
there's
he just paid
mounting.
off?
Yeah, I think
kind
when
of
you
thing,
got that
too?
amount of wealth. I also think
seems-
it's the
yeah.
right thing for Weird Al to do. I mean, these are 2 songs. He's
Yeah.
got a huge catalog.
Yeah, he does.
Nobody's
Yeah.
gonna miss him. If this were like his one
Yeah.
hit.
Right,
It's kind of a bummer, though.
Yeah, and do you separate the music and the artistry from the person?
Yeah.
It's hard to do.
Right.
It's hard to do. I mean, I'll be honest.
It really is.
I don't go back and listen to the old Bill Cosby records. I haven't been
Yeah.
able to play Trump the board game in years.
I hear you there.
I had that as a kid.
Did
That was
you
a pretty
really?
good board game.
Oh, really?
It was a pretty good
Wow,
board
that's
game.
where it ends, man.
I don't play it anymore.
Okay. Let me tell you about a
You
couple
didn't
more
get the
shows.
recall? They weren't recalled?
They should be. Yeah. Yeah. So Saturday, July 6th, going local. This is a friend of mine. Do you remember we had Travis Reef on the podcast a long time ago? So he's a front man for a rock band called the Mighty Deadwoods. So I have to give him a shout out. He's playing at the Loving Touch along with a few other bands this Saturday, July 6th. Go see him. And then Detroit Lines, which is a producer music collective, is having an album release party at El Club. And I did an interview with them. It's going to be written on the website coming up. Look for that on our website. And then Tuesday, July 9th, you can see Dave Matthews Band at DTE. That's a perennial favorite. And you can check out the Killers at Caesar Windsor.
This is the D.
Detroit.
Brief.
All right, let's take a moment to talk about some of the other things that are happening around town. We got to talk about 4th of July because
Oh,
that's
yes.
obviously the big holiday this week. I am so looking forward to a few days off of work.
Me too.
I need it badly. I haven't taken any
What
off
you going to
this
do?
year.
What's your plan?
Nothing. To sleep in. I've finished
sunshine.
landscaping, and we're going to watch the fireworks, all that.
Nice.
But if you're looking for something to do, the Salute to America with the DSO, the Detroit Symphony Orchestra, is happening over at Greenfield Village. Greenfield Village feels like the ideal place to go
It's
celebrate.
really fun.
4th of July.
Yeah, I've been to that before. It's very patriotic.
You know, they've
All
got-
American.
They've not only got the fireworks, but they've got cannons as well. There will be no cannons at my backyard barbecue.
Okay, good, good.
Not this year. I learned my lesson last year.
Maybe some cannonballs. Do you have a pool?
No.
You know, I was looking on Amazon. I was looking at those inflatable hot tubs,
Oh, jeez.
and then the more I read it, I was like, "This is a bad idea."
No. It would
This
last
is-
for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I'll do some cannonballs in your name.
Yes.
Those things weigh 2,000 pounds when they're full. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, couple of things to watch out for besides the cannonballs. 2 Michigan companies, Patriot Pyrotechnics in Sheridan and GS Fireworks in Wyoming, Michigan, have sold products which have now been recalled. They were recalled at the end of June by the Consumer Product Safety Commission. Basically, these fireworks were overloaded with ingredients that were intended to make a booming sound.
Okay.
But actually make a much bigger explosion than people expect.
Well, duh.
Yeah.
Just saying. You want to be careful with. I don't really set off fireworks. Do you guys?
Oh, we always did growing up. My dad had his like metal plate on the
Like
ground.
his launch pad?
Yeah, and a bucket right there. He was very safety conscious, and only he could touch them, and we all loved it.
That's a good dad.
Yeah. He's the bomb.
Yeah, you.
I'm good with observing the show.
right. You like your hands?
Yeah, I like my hands. I just, you know what? I like to be entertained for once.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, sit
Instead of
back.
doing
Enjoy.
it.
I love fireworks.
Nothing I can set off is going to be as good as what
That's
Exactly.
the
pros
thing.
do.
Yeah,
you know,
that's the
and that's one of the places where I don't feel the need to dabble.
Yeah.
Also, just a warning: Michigan police are stepping up traffic enforcement. They're cracking down on drunk driving. That's going to happen through July 14th, I guess,
Good.
in case you go on a bender. But
Yeah.
make sure that you're not driving drunk. And among the other things that you shouldn't do not block off the lodge so that you can
God.
do donuts in your car in the middle of the night.
Oh.
Did you guys see this viral video?
It's
that showed up?
infuriating.
Yeah, of just cars that just over the weekend they closed off the lodge near Livernois, and they just started doing donuts right there, and they filmed it, and someone in the video shouts, "We're taking over the lodge," and it's been shared thousands of times on social media.
That's what they were looking for.
I want to just channel my inner Bernie Sanders and just go out and yell at them, just like, "What are you doing with this nonsense?"
I know, right?
And free Medicare for all.
And free Medicare for all. Don't have free Medicare yet for you. Do not kill yourselves.
Right, or someone
Or
else.
other people.
What if somebody needed to get
I mean,
somewhere?
this does feel like something from the Fast and the Furious. Like,
It's just,
Or the movie Jackass. That's what
it's
it made
just
me think
so
of.
highly ignorant, honestly.
there is this thing nowadays that they call doing it for the gram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not pointing any fingers, but I have a podcast co-host who does this from time to time. Who,
I do not.
Wow.
Our
Tell
job
me.
is to
Tell me more.
promote things in Detroit, and that's what I do.
Sometimes people go in to try and get the coolest video, the coolest shot,
Yeah,
the
of
coolest
course.
photo. But
I wish I take
yeah,
the worst
I mean,
photos.
I give you credit. You've never actually closed down the lodge. You know,
No.
Putting society at risk in
Right.
doing so, or
Right.
someone's health in risk.
Well, the chief of police has come out. He says, we're going to catch them. You know why? Because guess what's on the video?
License plates.
The license plates on the video.
So they also. I love when criminals are dumb. I love it.
Justice served.
Yes.
Here's some other things going on. Foolish, the DJ from WJLB and The Bounce and Hot 107.5. He's bounced around over the years. He is going to be performing at the Punchline in Southfield all weekend. He's doing stand-up comedy. Also, the DIA is showing a new documentary about Toni Morrison. That's the poet that won the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction, the American Book Award, the Nobel Prize. That's just the best.
She is a great author.
She's an
she's
amazing
really
poet.
amazing woman.
And the documentary features new interviews with Angela Davis and Oprah Winfrey and even Toni Morrison herself. And finally, congratulations to Detroit's very own Tim Allen. Toy Story 4 has come out. The reviews are amazing, which who would expect for the fourth
I heard it.
film in the
well,
series.
that's the one that got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It did. I don't know if it's still at 100%.
It
but
was when
but
it came out,
when
yeah.
it came out. Toy Story 4 just celebrated its second week at number 1 at the box office. But here's what's coming this week. Spider-Man Far From Home opens this weekend. So
yeah.
we'll see if it can hold on to the slot.
This is the D.
Detroit.
This is the D.
Brave.
That's it, Ben. That's a show.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Pretty
Well,
easy.
Come
huh?
on, you want to be a
Awesome.
radio
That was
DJ
quick.
now.
I want to be back.
You
You
will
get
be.
to come back
You'll come back
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Excellent.
Yes. Hey, want to let everybody know we have a mobile app. You can check it out. And we've got all kinds of bonus interviews and stuff in there that you can listen to as well.
You can also listen on your Amazon Echo. Just say, Alexa, enable the Debrief podcast.
On Friday, the Handlebar, these pedal pubs that are all around downtown.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're going to talk to the guy who started it all. He's going to
Yes,
be,
we
Brian
are.
Lindsay's going to be our guest.
I would like to give a shout out. Is it time?
It is
Can we
time.
start the
Let's do
shout-outs?
shout-outs, shall we?
Okay, so last Friday night, I don't know if you remember, Friday night, it poured rain in the late afternoon, but then the skies cleared, the sun came out.
She says that like it hasn't happened every day for the last,
right.
6
Right,
months.
Exactly. And it was a gorgeous night on the Whitney patio there. They have those garden parties. They have a Motown review going on. And last Friday, it was apropos, friend of the show. He was performing there with his DJ, doing lots of Motown hits as well as some of his original songs. And it was just a wonderful night. It was like typified summer. We got a burger and a burrata salad. The food at the Whitney, like you don't feel like you got to do the $30 entree type thing. Like they have a nice bar menu that is quality and yummy. And we had a super nice server. She was great. So
The Whitney feels
I
like
love
it
the
would be
Whitney.
your type of venue.
Oh, yeah.
It's just that
Yes.
old school classic vibe.
Yeah, for sure.
and getting outside, it was wonderful.
I like the ghost stories too.
Yeah. Do you believe in ghosts?
Yeah.
You
I
do?
think so, yeah.
You
That's a whole other podcast. But I'm into it.
All right, Ben.
I don't not believe in it.
right.
We had Carmen Harlan on, and she evaded the question.
Yeah, she
when we
does.
asked her about
Really?
the ghosts of
She
the
doesn't
Whitney.
believe
It's
Yeah.
touchy.
Yeah. So, Ben, what about you? Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
My friend just did this new thing. He owns Detroit Wick, and they started doing these trip wipes.
What's
which
a
is
trip wipe?
So it's a trip wipe is a sanitary wipe. But they already exist. But trip wipes are different because they smell amazing.
Not
so
like
it doesn't
that
have that
antiseptic.
alcoholic kind of like alcohol smell. You don't want an alcoholic smell either.
right.
What kind of scents are we talking about? Like avocado and cream?
No,
and-
just like a
Lavender,
beautiful, just these aromas that they make up themselves with different natural ingredients, and you can sanitize and freshen up the area at the same time, which is, I think, this is ingenious. And the branding is great. It's like really cool orange packet.
And they're in stores. They're available.
Yeah, I think you can go to tripwipes.com.
And order it?
Yeah.
I could smell a little bit better when I'm traveling in the car.
Oh, yeah. But they've been taken off. I've actually been seeing them like around Detroit. I wish people would clean up their wrappers, but but it's like cool that they're being used. At least it's a sanitary area.
All right. I want to give a shout out to Green Bush Brewing Company of Sawyer, Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I do not know if this beer is new or if it's been around for a long time. I just discovered it. The Sunspot Hefeweizen Ale, which has quickly become my favorite. I know I shouldn't be, but I've been on this craft beer kick for like 6 months now. Are you a craft beer drinker?
I love it. Yeah.
Do you have any favorites?
I'm a Belgian style ale guy.
Me too.
But I do like the German beers, like the Hefeweizen. Those are generally really good too.
I really enjoyed this one.
Green Bush makes, I believe they're the one that makes the Brother Benjamin beer. That's very, very good as well.
I'll check it out, but this might be my summer beer. All right. Well, thanks, Ben Sharkey, for joining us. We'll have you back again tomorrow.
Awesome. Can't wait.
You've got a couple of dates coming up if people want to check you out.
Yes.
Let's talk about what they are. Starting on the 12th.
Yes, that is the Clarkston Summer Concerts in Depot Park in Clarkston. And then on the 13th, I'm at the Concert of Colors in the DIA, the front lawn of it. And then on the 19th, I'm at Access Lounge in MGM Grand.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, we'll have you back again tomorrow. Until then, Detroit's moving.
Keep up.
The Debrief.
Your guide to Detroit's arts and entertainment scene.
Hi, Craig Foley here. If you're listening to the Debrief podcast, well, I've got two things to say to you. One, you have impeccable taste. Two, you care about the community that is Metro Detroit. That's why I think you'd appreciate my daily show, The Craig Foley Show on Deadline Detroit. Every weekday, I tackle the big issues in politics, business, arts and culture, sports. Whatever's on the mind of Detroiters and Michiganders, we will talk about it. It's all open for discussion. And keep this in mind. News doesn't have to be boring. Sure, we talk about serious stories and we have interviews and commentary, but we do it in a way that, if I'm doing my job right, is informative but also entertaining. Check out The Craig Foley Show on Deadline Detroit for news, knowledge, hopefully some fun tossed in.
Hi, I'm Ann DeLisi from 1019 WDET. Well, for years I've been talking with people who are artists to find out what drives their creative spirit. And those extended sit-downs have now culminated in a new podcast series titled Essential Conversations. In the inaugural episodes, I talk with MC5 guitarist Wayne Kramer about the early days of the MC5, jazz artists Esperanza Spalding and Terry Lynn Carrington as they critique each other's teaching style. I turn the tables on writer and humorist Mo Rocca, and official White House photographer for the Obama administration, Pete Souza, talks about the night Osama bin Laden was captured. You can find Essential Conversations wherever you download your podcasts.